The door clicked shut behind us, cutting off the lively sounds of the wedding reception still echoing from the grand ballroom in downtown Atlanta. We were finally alone in the elegant foyer of our new condo. I kicked off my elegant white heels, sighing with relief as my feet touched the cool hardwood floor. The day had been exhausting, but my mother, Gloria, had insisted on every detail, including those torturous shoes. "Alina, you must look perfect," she had said firmly when I suggested something more practical. Marcus stood beside me, loosening his perfectly tailored suit jacket. He was a tall, handsome man of 38 with refined features and warm brown eyes. His hands were elegant, skilled at sign language, or so I had believed for the past 6 months of our whirlwind courtship. I had grown used to his silence, too, communicating through gestures, notes, and meaningful glances. My mother always reminded me it was a small price for such a stable, successful partner. I turned to offer him tea, as I usually did, lifting my hands to sign. But before I could finish, Marcus looked straight into my eyes and spoke in a clear, deep voice. "Alina, we need to talk." Seriously, my world stopped. My heart hammered wildly. My knees buckled, and I grabbed the wall for support. The man I had just married, the one supposedly mute since childhood due to trauma, was speaking perfectly normally. Shock froze me in place. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. "I'm sorry," he said softly, genuine regret in his tone. "I know this is overwhelming. Let's sit down. I'll explain everything, who I really am, why this was necessary, and why your mother." I didn't let him finish. I bolted into the bathroom, slammed the door, and locked it. Sinking onto the edge of the tub, tears streamed down my face, ruining my wedding makeup. Marcus could speak. He had lied to me for months, and my mother, had she known? Memories flooded back, every date. Had it all been an act? I heard him knocking gently. "Alina, please come out. I understand you feel betrayed, but give me a chance to explain." I stared at my reflection, a beautiful bride in white, now looking shattered. At 27, I had dreamed of love, not this deception. My mother, Gloria, had become domineering after my father's death. She pushed stability above everything, believing her own love match had cost her too much. 6 months ago, she announced she had found the perfect husband for me, Marcus Ellington, a successful businessman, mute due to childhood trauma. She arranged everything. Tired of loneliness and her pressure, I agreed to meet him. Our first coffee date was surprisingly easy. He wrote notes, listened attentively, and showed genuine interest in my teaching career. He remembered every detail, my favorite flowers, movies, books. My mother was thrilled. "He's secure and respectful," she said constantly. After 3 months, he proposed in the park with a note and a stunning ring. I said yes. The wedding was lavish, orchestrated by my mother. Now, on our wedding night, the illusion had shattered. I washed my face, took a deep breath, and opened the door. Marcus waited in the hallway, looking pained. "Thank you," he whispered. "Let's talk in the living room." We sat him in the armchair, me on the sofa. What he revealed next turned my entire understanding of the past 6 months upside down. Marcus wasn't mute, and my mother had been deeply involved in the deception. But as he began explaining his painful past and their twisted plan, I wondered, could any of this be forgiven, or was our marriage already doomed? I was never mute. I grew up in a normal family, went to regular schools, built a successful chain of appliance stores. Everything you know about my condition was fabricated. I stared at him in disbelief. He spoke of his previous marriage to Vanessa, 5 years of love that ended in brutal betrayal when she cheated and left, taking half his assets because there was no prenup. The divorce broke him. He swore off love and decided the next marriage would be calculated. "Your mother is my godmother," he continued. After the divorce, she reached out, saying she knew a kind, principled woman who would make a perfect wife. She suggested the mute act as a test. If you married me despite the disability, it would prove you weren't after money or charm. Rage boiled inside me. You both tested me like some experiment. Marcus looked ashamed. I was terrified of being hurt again. Denise, your mother thought it would protect both of us. She described you as genuine and domestic. I agreed, but I never expected to develop real feelings. He described how our dates felt authentic to him, how my patience and warmth surprised him, how he started falling for me even while pretending I felt dizzy. My mother had manipulated my life. She had convinced me stability mattered more than passion, rewriting her own history with my father to push her agenda. Get out, I whispered finally. I need space. Marcus left for his brother's place, leaving his number. Alone in the luxurious condo he had prepared, I cried until exhaustion claimed me the next day. My mother arrived with groceries, worried because I hadn't answered her calls. When I confronted her, she turned pale, but tried to explain. I only wanted the best for you, Alina. Marcus is a good man who is deeply hurt. I thought this would give you security. Her words stung. She admitted knowing about the plan from the start. I believed if you married first, you'd forgive once you saw how well he treated you. I asked her to leave. I needed time to process the double betrayal. My best friend Layla came over that evening. I poured out the whole story. She was stunned. That's insane. What are you going to do? I didn't know. Divorce seemed logical, but something held me back. Memories of Marcus's genuine care during our courtship. After 2 days of silence, I finally called Marcus to come back for a real conversation. Would his full explanation make things better, or reveal even more painful truths about the conspiracy between him and my mother? Marcus arrived quickly. We sat in the living room again. This time I let him sit closer. Tell me everything, I demanded. No more lies. He opened up about his childhood, his successful but stressful business, and the deep scars from Vanessa's betrayal. I was scared to trust again. The mute idea seemed like a way to see someone's true character. He admitted the plan was flawed and that he had grown to genuinely care for me. Your patience, your kindness. It wasn't an act for me. I started wanting this to be real. I shared my own pain, feeling like a pawn in my mother's game, losing trust in the two people closest to me. We talked for hours. It was raw, honest, and exhausting. By the end, I proposed a radical idea. Let's start over. Pretend the wedding and the lie never happened. We date properly, with complete honesty. No pressure, no expectations. We see if there's something real here. Marcus agreed immediately. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust. The following weeks were tentative but hopeful. We went on proper dates. He spoke openly, sharing thoughts and feelings. I saw the real Marcus, intelligent, thoughtful, and vulnerable. My anger slowly softened into understanding. He had been broken by betrayal, just as I felt broken by deception. As we rebuilt slowly, an unexpected visitor from Marcus's past showed up at our door. His ex-wife, Vanessa. What shocking revelation would she bring, and how would it test our fragile new beginning? The next few weeks felt like walking on thin ice. Marcus and I met every evening after work, carefully rebuilding from scratch. No more grand gestures or expensive dates, just honest conversations over coffee, walks in the park, and shared meals where he spoke freely. His voice. He told me about his childhood dreams of becoming an architect, how business took over, and the devastating impact of Vanessa's betrayal. She didn't just leave me, he said one evening as we sat on a park bench. She made me question everything I thought I knew about love and trust. I shared my own struggles, the pressure from my mother Gloria after my father's death, the loneliness of teaching while watching friends build families, and how I had almost convinced myself that stability was enough. I wanted to believe your mother's words, that love would come later. Marcus listened without interrupting, his eyes never leaving mine. I was wrong to test you, Alina. I see that now. You deserved honesty from the beginning. Slowly, the anger I carried began to thaw. I saw genuine remorse in his actions, the way he remembered small details about my students, how he helped with chores without being asked, and how he gave me space when I needed it. He's trying, Alina. The question is whether you can see a future with him. One Saturday afternoon, we visited a bookstore, one of my favorite places. Marcus picked up a novel I had mentioned loving and bought it without hesitation. As we walked out, he took my hand gently. "I'm not asking for anything more than you're ready to give," he said softly. "But I want you to know, I'm falling for the real you, not the version I thought I needed." His words touched something deep inside me. For the first time since the wedding night, I felt a flicker of hope, just as our fragile connection was strengthening. An unexpected knock at the condo door changed everything. Standing there was a glamorous woman from Marcus's past, his ex-wife, Vanessa. What bombshell would she drop, and how would it threaten the progress we had made? The woman at the door was stunning, perfectly styled hair, designer coat, and an air of confidence that made me feel self-conscious in my casual clothes. "You must be the new wife," she said with a cool smile. "I'm Vanessa." Marcus tensed beside me, his hand resting protectively on my shoulder. "What are you doing here, Vanessa?" She glanced past us into the condo. "I need to talk. It's important." We let her in reluctantly. Vanessa wasted no time. She claimed she had made a terrible mistake, leaving Marcus, that her new relationship had failed, and that she regretted everything. Tears welled in her eyes as she spoke, but something about her performance felt calculated. Marcus remained firm. "It's over, Vanessa. I've moved on. I'm married now." Vanessa looked at me with thinly veiled contempt. "Do you really think you can replace what we had?" I felt a surge of anger. This isn't about replacing anyone. It's about building something real. After she left, Marcus apologized profusely. I never expected her to show up. I blocked her months ago. That night, doubts crept back in. Had Marcus truly moved on, or was I just a safe rebound? We talked late into the night. He reassured me that his feelings for me were genuine and growing stronger every day. Vanessa's visit left lingering tension, but a much bigger surprise was coming. A few weeks later, I started feeling unusually tired and nauseous. When the doctor confirmed the news, my world turned upside down once again. How would Marcus react to the pregnancy? And what did it mean for our uncertain future? Morning sickness hit hard. I sat in the doctor's office, staring at the positive test results, my mind racing. Pregnant, from that one night after the wedding when emotions were raw and protection was the last thing on our minds. I rehearsed how to tell Marcus all day. When he came home, I was waiting at the kitchen table, hands trembling. "Alina, what's wrong?" he asked immediately, concern etched on his face. "I'm pregnant." Then joy exploded across his features. He pulled me into a tight embrace, tears in his eyes. "We're having a baby. This is incredible." His genuine happiness melted some of my fears. We talked for hours about the future, how we would navigate co-parenting if things didn't work romantically, but how much he wanted us to try as a family. My mother Gloria was overjoyed when she found out. "See, everything happens for a reason," she said. I didn't argue, but I made it clear that our relationship would be on my terms now. The pregnancy brought us closer, but Vanessa wasn't done causing trouble. When she learned about the baby, she showed up again with shocking news of her own. How would this new complication test our growing bond? Vanessa's second visit was even more dramatic. She revealed she was also pregnant, but not by Marcus. The father had abandoned her. She begged for help and understanding. Marcus, to his credit, offered financial support, but made it clear there would be no reconciliation. I struggled with jealousy and insecurity. "She had 5 years with you," I told him one night. "How can I compete with that history?" Marcus held me close. "You don't compete. You are my present and future. Vanessa is my past. With time, counseling, and honest conversations, we grew stronger. Marcus attended every prenatal appointment. We prepared the nursery together. The baby, a girl we named Sophia, became the bridge that helped heal old wounds. Sophia's birth was approaching, but one final test awaited us. Would our growing family survive the emotional challenges of new parenthood and the shadows of the past? The final months of my pregnancy were a whirlwind of emotions. Marcus was incredibly attentive. He rearranged his work schedule to attend every doctor's appointment, read parenting books late into the night, and turned the second bedroom into a beautiful nursery with soft pastel colors and a rocking chair by the window. One quiet evening, as we folded tiny clothes together, he looked at me with deep sincerity. "Alina, I know our beginning was wrong, but every day with you and our daughter growing inside you feels like redemption. I want to be the husband and father you both deserve." His words touched me. The deception still lingered like a scar, but I could see real change in him: patience, honesty, and consistent effort. We started couples counseling, where we unpacked the pain of the fake muteness, my mother's manipulation, and his fear from the past. My mother Gloria visited often, bringing homemade meals and baby clothes. During one visit, she took my hands. "I was wrong to interfere the way I did. I thought I was protecting you, but I took away your choice. Can you ever forgive me?" I hugged her tightly. "I'm working on it, Mom, for all of us." Sophia's arrival came 2 weeks early in a dramatic rush to the hospital. Amid 14 hours of labor, Marcus never left my side. But as we held our newborn daughter for the first time, an unexpected visitor threatened the fragile peace we had built. What new complication would test our growing family? Sophia entered the world with a strong cry that filled the delivery room. When the nurse placed her on my chest, tears streamed down my face. She was tiny, perfect, with Marcus's eyes and my nose. Marcus stood beside me, crying openly as he kissed my forehead. "She's beautiful, Alina. Thank you." The first weeks at home were exhausting, but magical. Sleepless nights, endless feedings, and the overwhelming love that came with parenthood. Marcus was a hands-on father, changing diapers at 3 a.m., rocking Sophia when she fussed, and giving me breaks when I felt overwhelmed one night. As I watched him gently singing to our daughter, my heart softened completely. The man who once deceived me was now showing me his true self, patient, loving, and committed. Vanessa sent a message congratulating us, but kept her distance after. Marcus made it clear their chapter was closed. We focused on our little family, slowly rebuilding trust, day by day. Just when we thought the past was behind us, Vanessa appeared again at our door, desperate and emotional. What revelation would she bring this time? And how would it affect our new life with Sophia? Vanessa looked exhausted, nothing like the polished woman from before. She confessed her pregnancy had been difficult. The father had abandoned her completely, and she was struggling. "I'm not here to cause trouble," she said quietly. I needed to see that you're both okay, and to apologize for how I acted before." Marcus offered financial help for the baby's needs, but firmly set boundaries. I watched him handle the situation with maturity and transparency, showing me every message and transfer. This act of honesty helped heal another layer of doubt. "Thank you for not hiding anything," I told him later. "That means more than you know." As Sophia grew, so did our bond. We took family walks, celebrated small milestones, and talked openly about our fears and dreams. Marcus even started learning sign language properly, not as a performance, but as a way to honor the journey that brought us together. Sophia's first birthday brought joy and reflection. During a quiet moment, Marcus got down on one knee again, not with a grand proposal, but with a simple request that would redefine our future. Would I finally say yes to a real beginning? On Sophia's first birthday, surrounded by family and close friends including Layla, Marcus pulled me aside in the garden. He took my hands, his voice steady but emotional. "Alina, we've come so far from that shocking wedding night. I know I hurt you deeply, but you've shown me what real love and forgiveness look like. I don't want to just be married on paper. I want to renew our vows, honestly, openly, with no secrets. Will you marry me again? For real this time?" He held out a simple, elegant ring with a small, heart-shaped stone. Tears filled my eyes. Yes, I will." We renewed our vows in an intimate ceremony a few months later, just family, Layla, and a small gathering. My mother, Gloria, cried happy tears, finally seeing the family she had hoped for, built the right way. With renewed vows and a growing family, life felt complete. But 2 years later, Sophia asked a simple question that forced us to confront our full story. How would we explain our unusual beginning to our daughter? Sophia, now 3, looked up at us with innocent eyes. "Mommy, Daddy, how did you meet?" Marcus and I exchanged glances. He took her on his lap. "We met in a very special way, sweetheart. At first, there were some misunderstandings and mistakes. Daddy wasn't completely honest at the beginning, but we learned to be truthful with each other, and that made our love stronger." I added softly, "Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, but the important thing is to forgive and grow together." That's how we became a real family. Sophia seemed satisfied and ran off to play. Later that night, Marcus held me close. "Thank you for trusting me enough to build this life," I smiled. "Thank you for proving every day that you're worth it. Our story wasn't a fairy tale, but it was real, forged through pain, forgiveness, and choice." Years passed peacefully. Sophia started school, and our family grew even closer. But one final surprise from the past would test whether our foundation of honesty could withstand anything. What would it be? The surprise came in the form of a letter from Vanessa. She had married a good man who loved her child, and she wanted to thank Marcus for his past help. She wished us well. Reading it together brought closure. Marcus looked at me. No more ghosts from the past. We celebrated with a family trip, creating new memories. Watching Marcus play with Sophia, hearing her laughter, and feeling his love every day, healed the last remaining wounds. I had chosen forgiveness, and it had led me to true happiness, as our family story continues to unfold with more children and shared dreams. One thing remains clear: love built on honesty is the strongest foundation. But what final lesson did this journey teach us about second chances? Sophia's second birthday brought our family together in the backyard of our condo, now filled with colorful balloons and laughter. Gloria arrived early with a homemade cake, her eyes soft as she watched her granddaughter toddle around. The tension that once defined our relationship had softened into cautious warmth. Later that evening, after the guests left, Marcus and I sat on the porch swing watching the sunset. Sophia was asleep inside, clutching her favorite stuffed bear. "I never imagined this life when I first spoke on our wedding night," Marcus said quietly, taking my hand. "I thought I was protecting myself, but I almost destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me." I leaned my head on his shoulder. "We both made choices we regret, but look what we built from it." He nodded. "Every day I choose you, Alina, honestly. No games." Our routine had become beautifully ordinary: morning coffee together, Marcus dropping Sophia at daycare before work, me teaching enthusiastic high school students about literature, and evenings filled with family dinners and bedtime stories. Trust had grown slowly but steadily, like roots strengthening after a storm. Just as we settled into this peaceful rhythm, a letter arrived that would force us to confront the full truth of our past once more. What secret from Marcus's history with Vanessa would resurface, and how would it affect our growing family? The letter was from Vanessa's lawyer. She had named Marcus as a potential guardian in case something happened to her, citing his past kindness during her pregnancy struggles. Marcus was stunned. "I never expected this," he said, showing me the document. "She must have written this months ago. We discussed it openly over dinner. I want full transparency. No secrets, remember. Marcus agreed immediately and suggested we meet Vanessa together for clarity. The meeting at a neutral cafe was awkward but civil. Vanessa looked healthier, happier in her new marriage. I wanted Sophia to have a safety net if anything happened to me, she explained. You two have built something beautiful. I respect that. Marcus declined the legal role, but offered continued friendship-level support if needed. Driving home, I felt a profound sense of peace. The past no longer held power over us. That night, as we put Sophia to bed, Marcus whispered, "Thank you for trusting me through all of this." With the past fully addressed, we decided it was time to expand our family. But when I discovered I was pregnant again, unexpected complications arose that would test our bond like never before. The second pregnancy was harder. Morning sickness lasted longer, and I faced complications that required bed rest in the third trimester. Marcus stepped up completely, taking over household duties, working from home when possible, and reading to my belly every night. "You're carrying our son," he would say softly, hand on my bump. "I'm in awe of your strength, Alina." Gloria moved in temporarily to help with Sophia. Our conversations during those quiet afternoons healed old wounds. "I see now how much damage my interference caused," she admitted one day. "But watching you to become real partners, it's more than I ever hoped for." I forgave her fully in that moment. We all make mistakes. The birth of our son Liam was smoother than expected. Holding him in my arms with Sophia peeking curiously at her baby brother, I felt complete. Marcus's eyes shone with tears as he kissed us both. "Our family," he whispered. "Our real family." As our children grew, Sophia began asking deeper questions about our wedding photos and why Daddy used to be quiet. How would we explain our complicated beginning to our curious daughter without breaking the trust we had worked so hard to build? Sophia was 4 when she found our wedding album. "Mommy, why does Daddy look sad in some pictures?" she asked innocently. We told her a child-friendly version of the truth. Sometimes grown-ups are scared and make mistakes. Daddy was scared of being hurt again, so he pretended something that wasn't true. But we talked honestly, forgave each other, and chose to build a loving family. Sophia listened thoughtfully. "So love means saying sorry and trying again?" "Yes, sweetheart," I replied, hugging her. "That's exactly what it means." Marcus and I renewed our commitment that night, not with a ceremony, but with quiet promises of continued honesty. Our life flourished. Family vacations, school events, and watching our children discover the world. 5 years after our rocky start, Marcus planned a special anniversary surprise in Paris, but during the trip, an emotional conversation under the Eiffel Tower would bring full circle the journey that began with deception. Paris was everything we dreamed of: romantic walks, cafe conversations, and stolen kisses. On our anniversary evening, standing by the Seine, Marcus pulled out a small box. Inside was a new ring and a handwritten letter. "I wanted to propose again, properly," he said, voice thick with emotion. "Alina, you taught me that real love isn't about perfection or protection through lies. It's about choosing each other every single day. Will you continue this journey with me?" Tears streamed down my face as I said yes once more. We renewed our vows privately at sunset, promising honesty, patience, and unwavering partnership back home. Life continued beautifully. Sophia started school. Liam followed with his endless energy, and our bond grew deeper with every challenge overcome. As the children grew older and asked more questions about life and love, I realized it was time to share our full story, not just with them, but perhaps to help others facing similar betrayals. What powerful decision would we make about our past? Years later, with Sophia 10 and Liam 7, we decided to tell our full story in a private family conversation. The children listened wide-eyed as we spoke honestly about the deception, the pain, the forgiveness, and the love that followed. "Love isn't always easy," Marcus told them. But when you choose honesty and forgiveness, it becomes something unbreakable. That conversation strengthened our family even more. I began volunteering at women's support groups, sharing parts of our journey anonymously to help others rebuild after betrayal. Marcus supported me fully. Looking back at that shocking wedding night when my mute husband spoke, I feel only gratitude. What began as a lie became the foundation for the most authentic love of my life. Our story doesn't end here. As our children grow and face their own futures, what final wisdom from our journey will guide them and perhaps inspire you toward choosing real love over fear? The years flowed gently after Liam's birth. Sophia started elementary school, her curious mind always asking questions about the world, while Liam followed her everywhere with boundless energy. Our condo, once a place of shock and tears on our wedding night, had transformed into a warm family home filled with drawings on the fridge, laughter echoing in the halls, and the comforting scent of home-cooked meals. Marcus's business thrived, but he made it a point to be home for dinner most nights. "I missed too much pretending," he often said. "I won't miss real moments with my family." One autumn evening, as the children played in the park nearby, Marcus and I sat on a bench watching them. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" he asked, taking my hand. I smiled. "Every day. That night when you spoke, I thought my world was ending. Instead, it was just beginning." We had faced many small challenges, toddler tantrums, work stress, and occasional doubts that resurfaced like old ghosts. But each time, we chose honesty. No secrets, no tests. Just open conversations and forgiveness. Gloria had become a loving grandmother, careful now not to overstep. Our relationship had healed into something respectful and warm. As Sophia turned 8, she found an old photo album and asked the question we had been preparing for. Why did Daddy pretend he couldn't talk? How would we explain our complicated beginning to our daughter without shattering the trust we had built? We sat Sophia down that weekend with age-appropriate honesty. Marcus spoke first. When Daddy was younger, someone hurt him very badly. He became scared of trusting people, so he pretended something that wasn't true when he met Mommy. It was wrong. I continued gently. It hurt me a lot at first. But we talked, we forgave, and we chose to build something real together. That's why our family is so strong now, because we learned from our mistakes. Sophia listened thoughtfully. "So love means saying sorry and getting better." "Yes, sweetheart," Marcus replied, hugging her, "and choosing each other every day." That conversation opened the door to deeper family talks. We started a tradition of weekly honesty circles, where everyone could share feelings without judgment. Liam, though younger, loved being included. Marcus and I grew even closer through parenting. We supported each other through tough days and celebrated small victories. Our love had evolved from cautious hope into deep, steady partnership. Just as we felt truly settled, Vanessa reached out again, this time with surprising news that would require us to practice the forgiveness we taught our children. How would this final encounter from the past affect our family? Vanessa's message was polite. She had married a good man and was expecting her second child. She wanted to thank Marcus one last time for his past kindness and close the chapter completely. We met her briefly at a park, neutral ground. She looked at Sophia and Liam playing and smiled softly. "You built something beautiful. I'm happy for you both." Marcus wished her well, and we parted without drama. Driving home, I felt the last remnants of insecurity dissolve. "She's part of your past," I told him, "and I'm your future." He kissed my hand, always. That evening, we celebrated quietly, just the four of us. Watching Marcus play with the children, I realized how much healing had taken place. The man who once hid behind silence now spoke love openly every day, with the past fully laid to rest. We decided to renew our vows publicly on our 10th anniversary. But during the preparations, an emotional discovery would bring everything full circle in the most beautiful way. For our 10th anniversary, We planned a small renewal ceremony in the same park where Marcus had first proposed years ago. Family and close friends gathered as we exchanged new vows, honest, heartfelt promises built on everything we had overcome. "I choose you every day," Marcus said, voice steady. Not out of fear, but out of love. Tears flowed as I replied, "I choose forgiveness, growth, and us," whispering, "I'm so proud of the family you've become, Layla." Our steadfast friend teased us about how far we had come from that shocking wedding night. As the sun set, Marcus and I danced slowly with the children joining in, laughter filling the air. A year after the renewal, we faced our greatest joy and challenge yet. How would expanding our family test everything we had learned about trust, love, and partnership? Our third child, a boy named Ethan, arrived healthy and loud. The early months were chaotic with 3 young children, but Marcus and I worked as a true team. Sleepless nights became shared stories, tantrums became teaching moments, and every milestone reminded us why we fought for this life. One quiet night, as we rocked Ethan together, Marcus whispered, "Thank you for giving me chances I didn't deserve." I smiled. "Thank you for proving you were worth every one." Our family had become my greatest joy. The deception that started our story felt like a distant memory, a painful beginning that led to the most authentic love. As the children grew and our family story continued, I decided it was time to share parts of our journey anonymously to help others facing betrayal. What powerful decision would Marcus and I make about our past, and how would it impact our future? As Ethan turned 2, our home buzzed with constant activity. Sophia, now 11, was developing a sharp wit and a love for books just like me. Liam, at 8, was energetic and protective of his younger brother. Marcus had scaled back some business responsibilities to be more present, often joining us for school events and weekend adventures. One crisp fall afternoon, while raking leaves in the yard, Sophia asked a question that stopped us all. "Mom, Dad, if you started with a lie, how did you know when to trust each other again?" Marcus knelt down to her level. "It wasn't overnight, sweetheart. It took many honest conversations, patience, and choosing to believe in each other every single day. Mommy taught me that real love means showing up even when it's hard," I added. "And forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's deciding the future is more important than the past." That evening, Marcus and I reflected on how far we had come. The man who once hid behind silence now spoke openly about his fears and dreams. We had built something real, not perfect, but deeply authentic. Our peaceful family life was interrupted when Gloria fell seriously ill. As we rallied around her, old conversations resurfaced, forcing me to confront whether I had truly forgiven her role in our complicated beginning. What final healing moment awaited us? Gloria's hospitalization shook us all. Marcus and I took turns staying with her, bringing the children for visits when she felt stronger. During one quiet evening alone with her, she took my hand weakly. "I was so wrong, Elena," she whispered. "I thought I was securing your future, but I nearly destroyed your chance at real happiness. Can you truly forgive me?" Tears filled my eyes. "I already have, Mom. Watching you with the grandchildren, I see how much you love us. We all make mistakes. What matters is that we learned from them." She smiled through her pain. "You and Marcus. You turned my mistake into something beautiful." Marcus supported me through the emotional weeks. When Gloria recovered enough to come home, our family grew even closer. The experience reminded us that life is fragile and forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. With Gloria's health improving, Marcus surprised me with a major life decision, selling part of his business to spend more time at home. But this change brought new challenges that would test our partnership in unexpected ways. Marcus's decision to step back from daily operations gave us more family time but also financial adjustments. We navigated budgeting conversations openly, turning potential stress into teamwork. One night, after putting the children to bed, he admitted, Sometimes I worry I'm not providing enough. I held him close. You're providing love, presence, and honesty, the things that matter most. We're in this together. Our relationship deepened through these honest talks. We took a family vacation to the mountains, creating memories that strengthened our bond. Sophia and Liam thrived, seeing their parents work as a team. As the children entered their preteen years, Sophia discovered an old journal of mine from the early days of our marriage. Reading my raw emotions from that painful time, she confronted us with questions that forced Marcus and me to revisit our story with fresh eyes. Sophia's discovery of my old journal led to an emotional family conversation. She had read entries about the shock, betrayal, and tears on our wedding night. "Why didn't you leave, Mom?" she asked. I explained gently, because I saw potential for something real beneath the pain. Your father showed me through actions that he wanted to change. Love sometimes means giving someone the chance to prove they can grow. Marcus shared his side, the fear that drove his deception and the profound regret that followed. Your mom's strength taught me how to be a better man, he told her. The conversation ended with hugs and a new family rule. Our home would always be a place of honesty. Watching our daughter process our story with maturity filled me with pride. On our 15th anniversary, Marcus planned something extraordinary. Under the stars during a special trip, he revealed a deeply personal gift that symbolized our entire journey. What was it, and how did it represent our transformation? For our 15th anniversary, we returned to Paris. On our last night, standing where we had renewed our vows years before, Marcus handed me a beautifully bound book. Inside were handwritten letters, one for every year of our marriage, detailing his love, gratitude, and growth. I wrote these in secret, he said, voice thick with emotion, to remind myself every day how lucky I am that you chose forgiveness. Tears streamed down my face as I read his words. This is the most beautiful thing you've ever given me. We held each other under the city lights, reflecting on the incredible journey from deception to deep, abiding love. The man who once pretended to be mute now spoke the most honest, heartfelt words I had ever heard. Back home, with our 3 children growing into wonderful young people, I decided it was time to share an anonymous version of our story to help others struggling with betrayal and forgiveness. What powerful impact would our story have on the lives of strangers? The decision to share our story anonymously came after many late-night conversations. Marcus and I sat in the living room after the children were asleep, discussing how our painful beginning might help others facing betrayal, manipulation, or broken trust. I don't want to glorify the lie, I said. But if our journey from deception to real love can give someone hope, then it's worth sharing, Marcus agreed. We worked together on a carefully written manuscript, changing names and details while keeping the emotional truth intact. A women's support organization published it as an anonymous testimony online. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from women and men who had experienced similar pain, thanking us for showing that forgiveness and growth were possible. One letter particularly moved me. A young woman who had been deceived by her fiancé wrote that our story gave her courage to seek counseling instead of running away. Marcus and I read every response together, feeling a sense of purpose beyond our own family. As our story touched more lives, Sophia, now 13, surprised us by wanting to know the full, unfiltered version. How would we navigate telling our teenage daughter the complete truth about our wedding night and the deception that started it all? Sophia was ready. We sat with her on a quiet Saturday afternoon, no younger siblings around. Marcus and I told her the complete story, the fake muteness, my mother's involvement, the shock on our wedding night, the tears, the anger, and the long road of rebuilding trust. She listened without interrupting, her eyes wide. When we finished, she was quiet for a long moment. That must have been so hard, Mom, she finally said. But you stayed. You both worked on it. Yes, I replied. Because we saw something worth fighting for, Marcus added. Mistakes don't define us. What we do after them does. That's the lesson we want you to carry. Sophia hugged us both tightly. I'm proud of you. Both of you. That conversation strengthened our family bond even more. She began opening up about her own feelings and friendships with new maturity. Rehook Liam, curious about his sister's serious talks, started asking his own questions. Meanwhile, a new challenge emerged when Ethan began struggling in school. How would we apply the lessons of honesty and patience we had learned as a couple to parenting our son through difficulties? Ethan's struggles in school weighed heavily on us. He had trouble focusing and often came home frustrated. Marcus and I attended meetings with teachers and worked with him patiently every evening. Instead of pressure, we chose honesty. It's okay to find things hard, Marcus told him one night. Daddy made big mistakes when he was scared. What matters is trying and asking for help. We discovered Ethan thrived with hands-on learning. Marcus started weekend woodworking projects with him, turning challenges into bonding time. Slowly, Ethan's confidence grew. Watching Marcus guide our son with the same patience he had shown me filled my heart with love. As the children entered their teenage years, Gloria's health declined again. During her final weeks, she shared profound regrets and wisdom that brought full healing to our family. What final words from my mother would forever change how I viewed our complicated beginning? Gloria passed peacefully, surrounded by family. In her last clear conversation with me, she held my hand and whispered, "I was wrong to play God with your life. But seeing the love you and Marcus built, it was worth more than any plan I could have made. Thank you for forgiving me." At her funeral, Marcus stood beside me as we celebrated her life. The children shared sweet memories of their grandmother. In the quiet days that followed, our family drew even closer. Her passing reminded us how precious time together truly is. Marcus and I often talked about legacy, not wealth, but the values of honesty, forgiveness, and resilience we were passing to our children. On our 20th anniversary, with all 3 children now teenagers, Marcus planned a special family trip. During a meaningful moment on that vacation, Sophia made a surprising request that brought our entire journey full circle in the most touching way. During our 20th anniversary family trip to the mountains, Sophia, now 16, asked if she could renew vows with us in a small ceremony. "I want to celebrate the love that chose to grow despite everything," she said. We held a simple, beautiful renewal with just our family. The children stood beside us as Marcus and I exchanged updated vows, promising continued honesty, growth, and partnership. Liam and Ethan added their own sweet words of appreciation. Tears flowed freely. Looking at my husband, our 3 children, and the life we had built, I felt overwhelming gratitude for the painful path that led us here. As our children grew into young adults and began their own journeys, Marcus and I reflected on decades together. What final wisdom from our story of deception, forgiveness, and love would we pass on to the next generation? Sophia left for college, followed later by Liam and Ethan. The house grew quieter, but our love deepened in new ways. Marcus and I traveled more, volunteered together, and continued supporting families through anonymous storytelling and counseling groups. One evening, watching the sunset from our porch, Marcus said, "From that shocking wedding night to this, every hard moment was worth it." I squeezed his hand. We chose each other again and again. That's our real story. In their later years, with grandchildren filling their lives with joy, Alina and Marcus looked back one final time. What powerful message would they leave for anyone facing betrayal, doubt, or a broken beginning? The house felt different with the children grown and pursuing their dreams. Sophia was thriving in college, studying literature like her mother. Liam had developed a passion for business and was learning alongside his father. Ethan discovered a talent for art and design. Marcus and I embraced this new chapter with evening walks, quiet dinners, and time to simply enjoy each other's company. One crisp morning, Marcus found me in the garden, tending to flowers. "Remember when we thought this marriage might not survive that first night?" he asked with a gentle smile. I laughed softly. I thought my world had ended. Instead, it opened up to something far more beautiful. We sat on the bench where we had shared so many honest conversations over the years. Marcus took my hand. "I want to thank you again, Elena, for seeing past my fear, for choosing us every day." As we celebrated our silver anniversary, our children returned home with a special request. They wanted to hear the full, unedited version of our story one more time, and to record it as a family legacy. What emotions would surface when we revisited every detail together? The family gathered around the living room on a rainy weekend. Sophia set up a camera. "We want to preserve this for our own children one day," she explained. Marcus and I told the complete story, the deception, the shock, the tears, the anger, the slow rebuilding, the pregnancies, the challenges, and the victories. The children listened intently, occasionally asking questions. There were tears, laughter, and profound moments of understanding. When we finished, Liam said, "You two showed us that love isn't perfect. It's work, and it's worth it." Sophia hugged us both. "Thank you for being honest with us. It makes me believe I can face anything in my own life." Ethan simply smiled. "I'm proud to be part of this family." Years later, with grandchildren playing at our feet, Marcus and I sat on the porch one final evening. What ultimate reflection on love, forgiveness, and second chances would we share as our story reached its beautiful conclusion? The grandchildren's laughter filled our home as we watched them play. Marcus and I, now grandparents, sat on the porch swing holding hands, the same swing where we had shared so many honest conversations. "If someone had told me on our wedding night that this would be our life," I said softly, "I wouldn't have believed them." Marcus smiled, his eyes still warm after all these decades. "We started with a lie, but we built a lifetime of truth. I chose fear once. I've chosen love every day since." I leaned against him, and I chose to stay, to forgive, to build something real. It was the best decision I ever made. Our story wasn't a fairy tale. It was better, a testament to the power of honesty, patience, forgiveness, and the daily choice to love as the sun set. Casting a golden glow over our family, I whispered, "Thank you for growing with me." Marcus kissed my forehead. "Thank you for believing in us." And in that moment, surrounded by the life we had created together, I knew without doubt, love, when chosen honestly, can overcome even the deepest betrayals.